Thank you for watching. Subscribe on Deceived Husbands for more stories. In the past few days, my world has completely turned upside down. I'm a mess of emotions and unsure of what to do next. My name is Ryan Sullivan, and I'm a confused 26-year-old man. I come from a good, happy family. I have one sister, Abby, who is 5 years older than me and happily married with a daughter of her own. Let me take you back a bit to my upbringing. I've always lived in the same house since I was born. Abby used to pick on me, but that was just sibling rivalry. We get along great now. Next door were the Thompsons with Mr. and Mrs. Thompson and their daughter, my best friend ever, Katie. Her name was Catherine, but she liked to be called Katie. She was what my parents would have called a tomboy. We went to the same school, but she was a year behind me. Since first grade, we walked to school together. We were pals and told each other everything. I used to get mad when people called her my girlfriend because she wasn't. She was my pal and best friend. We talked like all kids do about different things. One day we talked about kissing. I remember I was 14 at the time and not really into girls yet. We decided to kiss and we had our eyes open and touched lips. "Well, what do you think?" I asked. I didn't really feel anything. "I don't get why people think it's so great," replied Katie. "It was like kissing my sister," I said. "It was funny because we would swim together, play ball, and even wrestle when we were young. When we became teenagers, we still walked to and from school together like brother and sister. We studied most evenings together. Other times we rode our bikes, went to the movies, and even camped out in the backyard. The only thing we didn't do when we got older was have sleepovers. When we were younger, we did, but we made tents on the floor. Our parents thought we were too old for that now. I belonged to a few organizations at school and played baseball and soccer. I was just a regular kid and knew I didn't have a future in sports. Katie joined the band and played the saxophone. She could play a few other wind instruments too. She was great in girls' softball and could kick butt, so we didn't see each other as much during high school. One of us always had a game or practice. I asked her if she wanted to go to the junior prom, but her mother told her she was too young, so I took another girl. My senior year, I didn't go when Katie told me Tony Mason asked her, and she said yes. I was going to ask her, but never got around to it. She did tell me she had a nice time until Tony tried to kiss her, and she had to set him straight. She didn't tell me what she did, but it made me smile. I graduated and started working at an auto parts manufacturing plant. One day when I came home, I saw Katie sitting on her porch with a good-looking girl. I walked over and she introduced me. "Ryan, this is Jenna, my cousin. Before you ask, it's her real name. She recently moved here from Washington. Her dad, my uncle, is in the military. Jenna, this is my pal and best bud, Ryan." I told her I was pleased to meet her and asked what she did for a living. I found out she was 25 and I was 23 at the time. She told me she worked in an insurance office as an administrative assistant. I have to say she was a good-looking woman. I don't think Katie liked the way I was looking at her. Surely she wasn't jealous. The three of us talked for a while on the porch, and I decided to ask Jenna out Saturday night to a movie. I was surprised when she agreed to go, as long as Katie didn't mind. "I don't want to take away her boyfriend," replied Jenna. "Why would I mind?" said Katie. "Ryan and I are just good friends. Isn't that right, Ryan?" she said, staring at me. I could tell by her tone that she was a bit mad but tried to hide it. "Yeah, we're just good friends. Besides, there's a football game Saturday, and Katie is in the band." I got Jenna's address and phone number and told her I'd see her Saturday. I went home and had dinner with Mom and Dad. I mentioned Jenna, and they asked me what Katie thought. She didn't say much of anything. Besides, she has to play at the game Saturday. On Saturday, I went and picked up Jenna and met her parents. They seemed nice enough, but didn't say a lot. Jenna and I headed to the movies. I was surprised she wore a skirt and blouse. Katie always wore jeans when we went to the movies. We talked a little about our jobs on the way to the movie. We got some popcorn, and Jenna wanted to sit way off to the side. I just followed her. During the movie, she put her hand on mine and moved it over on her thigh. Up until now, I had felt up a couple of girls and even got an Aussie kiss from a date. I never told Katie about it. It didn't seem like the right thing to do, even though she was my best bud. I knew if she let a guy touch her, I wouldn't want to know. Jenna was different. She was older, 25, and must have dated for a while. She had told me she went to college for 2 years and got her degree in administrative science. During the movie, I moved my hand all over her. She just watched the movie like she didn't know what I was doing and continued watching the movie. Thank God no one was around us. It was then that she finally looked at me and smiled. We had done everything we could do, and then Jenna and I watched the rest of the movie. After the movie, we parked and we made out. She let me feel her all over. "Do you have any protection?" she asked. I never carried protection. I told her I didn't, and she told me she wouldn't do it without them. She did let me touch her some more and said, maybe next time. I knew I wanted to start dating her. I asked her out again the following weekend. I made sure I kept plenty of protection in my car. I couldn't stop thinking about her. I can't say I loved her, but I knew I felt different. I saw Katie a couple of days later. "Ryan, we need to talk." "What is it?" I asked. "You have to watch out for Jenna. She's pretty wild and I don't want to see you get hurt. She told me what you did at the movies and asked me if I ever did it with you. I told her no. We were just good friends and not to play with your feelings. I mentioned to her that I didn't think you've had sex yet, have you?" "What? You talked about what we did? How could you? Now I look like an idiot." "Thanks a lot, Ryan. I care for you. You're my best friend and I don't want to see you get hurt. I wish I never introduced you to Jenna." She then turned around and went home. I thought, women. I just don't get them. My best friend is mad at me, and her cousin probably knows I've never slept with a woman before. Great. I guess I'll have to see how it goes. On Saturday, I picked up Jenna, and she had on slacks and a blouse. I do have to admit that she looked nice, but I hoped to put my hand on her bare thigh again. We went out for dinner and talked. I asked her, "How come I've never met you before, since I lived my whole life next door to Katie? My dad is in the service and was stationed all over the place. Katie and her parents visited us a few times throughout the years. We visited here twice, but I don't know why I never met you. Katie probably wanted to keep you to herself. It's not like that between me and Katie. Really, Katie and I are just good friends. Why did you tell her about what happened at the movies?" She asked me what we did, and I told her. I think she got mad at me. I am going to make her even madder tonight. Why would you do that? What are you planning to do? I have the key to the apartment of my girlfriend at work. She said we could use her apartment for a few hours. Do you want to spend some time with me or go to a movie? She was laughing now. We headed for the apartment. It wasn't the nicest apartment, but all I knew was I was going to get some time alone with her. We started out by kissing. She was a good kisser. She smiled as I made love. We lay there for a while and kissed when I was done. I found the protection wasn't on. I looked down and was surprised. "What's the matter, Ryan?" "The protection came off," I replied. "Oh, I can't get pregnant," said Jenna. "Jenna," I said, "is there any chance you could take birth control pills? You'll use protection for a while, but the pills might be safe." "I'll even pay for them." "Okay, I guess I'll make a doctor's appointment and see what she says. Until then, you have to use the protection." We dated regularly. The time we spent together was nice, but we didn't seem to be as compatible as I was with Katie. Don't get me wrong here, I liked Jenna, but she was different from Katie. I still talked to Katie, but she was really pissed when she found out Jenna and I had been intimate. "How could you do that to me? Go and be with my cousin? I told you she's bad news, but no, you wouldn't listen. I thought we were best friends. You still are my best friend. It's just that I'm a guy and wanted to have a little fun. Jenna seems like a nice person, and I thought you'd be happy for me." Men are so dumb. No, I'm not happy for you. In fact, I'm on the verge of hating you for what you did to our friendship. I don't know if I ever want to talk to you again. She got up and stormed home again. What the hell did I do wrong? I'll never understand women. I kept dating Jenna, and she kept putting off getting the birth control pills. I was still using protection, but hadn't had any come off lately. Katie would say hi to me and not much else. I found out she was going to her prom and didn't ask me. I went over and knocked on her door. "Katie, I thought you wanted me to take you to your senior prom. What happened?" "You and my cousin Jenna happened. Do you really think I'd go to my prom with you while you're spending time with my cousin? How stupid could you be? She shut the door on me. I liked Jenna, and the time we spent together was enjoyable, but I missed seeing Katie. My life was all mixed up, and then it got worse. I got a call from Jenna. She said she needed to see me. I went over to her house that evening. "What's the problem that couldn't wait till Saturday?" I asked. I went to the doctor to see if I could get birth control pills, and the doctor told me I was already pregnant, just under 3 months. My periods are always mixed up, so I didn't think much about it. What are we going to do? I was in shock. I did use protection, and it did fall off that one time, but what was I supposed to do now? I was infatuated with Jenna, but not in love. We were just spending time together, I thought. We sat and talked about the options. Abortion was one, but I really didn't like the idea, and it would be hard to cover up and also kind of expensive. Jenna was worried about her reputation and her job. We came to the conclusion that we would get married. I knew that it was the right thing to do. I remember reading in a story where it said, "You want to play, you've got to pay." I cared enough for Jenna and believed I could love her. We told her parents that we were getting married. They tried to talk us out of it until they found out she was pregnant. They were really pissed, but happy that I was doing the right thing and marrying their daughter. I told Mom and Dad that night, and they were really pissed at me. I know I really let them down, but it was too late now. The hardest person to tell was Katie. She already knew when I went to tell her. "You're an idiot, Ryan. You're making a big mistake marrying Jenna. You would be better off not marrying her and just supporting the baby. Ryan, I know it's too late now, but I want you to know I've always cared for you. When the time comes, and it will come, I will be there for you." I wasn't sure what she was talking about, but she started crying, gave me a hug, and closed the door. Jenna wanted to get married right away before she began to show, so we had a small private wedding the following weekend. Just our parents and my sister were there. Katie didn't even show up, which made me feel bad. We found a small apartment that we could afford. It wasn't much, but at least we had a place to live. Our parents and other relatives gave us enough household items to begin housekeeping. Life was so different. I'd come home at night and wait for Jenna. She always got off later than I did. I would usually start some kind of simple meal for us for dinner. After that, it was watching TV or visiting one of our parents. As she got bigger, she got more irritable. I just took it all in stride. I did go to Katie's graduation. I was proud of her. Jenna got mad at me for going. I had asked her if she wanted to go, and she said she didn't, so I went myself. I don't understand women. I hugged Katie and told her I was sorry for whatever I did to hurt her, and gave her another hug. She asked me about Jenna, and that was about it. I felt like I just lost my best friend when she walked away. I was busy working and getting all the overtime I could to help pay our expenses. Thank God Jenna had insurance to cover the delivery of the baby, or should I say babies. Yes, we were having twins. I couldn't believe it, 2 kids, and I just turned 26. I was lucky to have a good-paying job, which would put the kids on my insurance at birth. Life was going by fast now. I spent most of my time working and putting away money. In our apartment, we had 2 bedrooms. We set up one for the babies. People at work gave us all kinds of things we could use. Mom threw a baby shower, and everyone knew we were having twins. During the final couple of months, intimacy became damn near non-existent. She did help me out twice. Yippee. I was both nervous and tired. This was all too new to me, being a husband and soon to be a father of twins. One day, Jenna went to her parents. I chose to stay home. I was never the most welcome person at their house. I guess they felt Jenna could have done a lot better than me, but I was trying. I was sitting there putting some baby furniture together when there was a knock at the door. I got up and opened it, and there stood Katie. She had a baby gift in her hand. I was so glad to see her. I gave her a hug, and she felt so good. She told me she was sorry she didn't make the baby shower and thought she would bring over the gift. I invited her in, and she asked me where Jenna was. I told her she went to see her parents, and I was putting together furniture. She smiled at me, and we started putting the furniture together. Damn, I missed her. She told me she was going to college for 2 years for nursing and had already started. I remember telling her she would make a good nurse and could nurse me any time. It almost felt like old times until Jenna came in. What the hell are you doing here? I told you to stay away from my husband. You had your chance and blew it. Now get out of my house and stay away from my husband." What the hell just happened? The two of them argued, and I tried to stop it, but Jenna told me to stay out of it. What did she mean Katie had her chance? What was going on? Good thing Jenna was pregnant because I know Katie was capable of knocking her out. I finally told them both to shut up. "Jenna, I don't know what the hell is going on, but Katie is and always will be my friend. She stopped by to drop off a gift for our future kids. There isn't anything going on between me and Katie. There never has been." "Look," said Katie, "I am sorry for all the misunderstanding. I wish you two the best. I better go now." She had tears in her eyes as she walked out the door. "Jenna, what the hell was that all about? Katie's your cousin, and we've always been best friends. You had no right to treat her the way you did. I know you're pregnant, and your hormones are all mixed up, but Katie didn't deserve that. You were spewing nonsense. She loves you and always has. You were just too blind to see it. You're my husband now, and I don't want you being alone with her ever." I was lost for words. I wasn't about to start up another argument with Jenna. I just let it go for now. I did have to wonder if she knew something I didn't. Did Katie really like me that much? As time went on, we did our best to communicate. Jenna had a few good days, but most were her blaming me for her being pregnant. She was scared, and so was I. We weren't ready for parenthood, but here we were. I got a call at work, and it was Jenna. She had to go to the hospital. The babies were coming. I left as soon as I could and met her there. I called her parents and mine. They arrived shortly after I got there. Jenna was cussing up a storm. "You son of a... You better never touch me again. God, it hurts. I wish it was you pushing these babies so you know what it feels like." She kept going on and on. Thank God our parents didn't hear her. I was in the room for the delivery. She hardly said a nice word to me. I knew she was in pain, but there was nothing I could do. I offered to hold her hand, but she wanted no part of me. Finally, she screamed out, and I saw the head of one of the babies. It was a boy. It sure looked messed up. My stomach was becoming queasy. The nurse looked at me and saw the look on my face. "Don't worry. They all look that way till we clean them up." She gave me a very welcome smile. It was a few minutes later that the second one arrived. It looked pretty much like the first one, except she was a girl. Jenna lay there looking like she just got out of a shower. Two nurses cleaned up the babies, and another helped Jenna clean up some. I stepped out and told our parents that they were now grandparents. "You have a grandson and a granddaughter." The doctor said they seemed in perfect health. I was happy the ordeal was over with. We all waited in the waiting room till we got the okay to see Jenna and the babies. She still wasn't talking to me. She wasn't saying much of anything to anyone. They brought the babies in, and of course everyone seemed really happy except Jenna. I knew she went through a lot, but I thought she would be more excited. The grandparents sure were. We named them Ethan and Emma. They sure were cute babies, even though they were mine. I was really happy. I was now a dad, a very proud one. In the days that followed, we took our babies home. Their room was all ready for them. Jenna seemed a little better toward them now. I tried to be as helpful as possible. Jenna didn't want to breastfeed, so our babies were on formula. I promised to help as much as I could. Jenna had taken a 2-month maternity leave. When I got home from work, she would nag at me and tell me it was my turn to watch the babies since she had to do it all day. I really didn't mind because I loved being a dad. I was even able to change diapers right from the start. Each day, I was excited to get home and play father to my twins. Jenna did what most mothers do, but she never had a fire in her belly toward the kids. I figured it was just her emotions were overwhelmed. I did my best to comfort her. She joined an exercise club to help get her body back. Now I knew what the problem was. She was afraid she had lost her beautiful body. She went to exercise class for an hour each evening after I got home from work. In no time at all, she looked great, and I told her so. It was 2 months before she would have sex with me. She did get on birth control. She didn't want any more kids. We needed a plan for after she went back to work. My mom suggested she could watch the kids while I worked. She was crazy about the twins. Jenna would drop them off in the morning before leaving for work, and I would pick them up unless I had to work overtime. It worked out pretty good. Sometimes Mom would even have dinner ready, and I would eat there. Jenna hardly ever made dinner. I would take a plate of food home for her. One day while I was at Mom's, Katie stopped in. God, it was so good to see her. I gave her a hug and asked her if she wanted to see the twins. Ryan, I see the twins most every day. I stop in after school and sometimes help your mom feed them. I'm not sure what word to use, but they are adorable and precious. After Mom walked out of the room, Katie said, "Too bad their mother is a well. They deserve so much better." Katie, that's my wife you're talking about, I know. Thank God they have a father as nice as you. She gave me a hug and went home. Mom came back in the room but kept quiet about Katie. We talked about the kids before I took them home. It's been about 9 months since the birth of the twins. The kids are more fun than ever. I lay on the floor and they crawl all over me. Jenna seems a lot better now as I watch her with the kids. I know she has a busy schedule working, going to exercise twice a week now, and being a mother when she's home. Mine isn't any easier. I pick them up at Mom's, make sure they're fed, and play with them till their mom shows up. It's what being a parent is all about. At least twice a week we take them to see Jenna's parents. They love the kids also. How could they not? A couple of times Katie's parents were over visiting Jenna's parents. After all, the two men are brothers. Katie's dad, Jim, is Jenna's uncle. His wife is Karen. I've known them my whole life. They were like second parents to me. Jenna's parents are Bob and Alice Davis. They didn't seem to like me as much as Jim and Karen do, but I did get their daughter pregnant. Our sex life is okay, but nothing to write home about. I expected we would be going at it most every day for at least a couple of years. I'm lucky if we do it twice a week. It's good when we do it, but I always have to be the instigator. We don't go out very often, maybe once every couple of weeks. It's those days I usually get lucky. Jenna likes to drink, but I'm usually the one driving, so I stick with soda. I'm just trying to be a responsible driver and dad. We've gone out dancing with a couple of her friends from work. I guess I don't like the way she flirts, but not quite sure what to do about it. I have told her she was flirting a little too much, and she did back down some. Lately, I've been getting calls from her that she has to work over an hour or so. After about the third time, it happened about twice a week. It made me wonder. So on the way home, I drove by her insurance offices and saw the light on inside and her car parked there. I went ahead and went home. I did ask her about the sudden overtime, and she said they were revamping the computer system and it was too busy during regular hours. I honestly didn't buy it. Why was it always her working over? I went by 3 different times, and it was only her car and one other, always the same car. I had to wonder if she was cheating on me. After all, she was a good-looking woman and probably alone with another man. She had a jealous streak about me, and that made me wonder if she might have taken on a lover. One day, while I was at Mom's to pick up the kids, she told me she had to run to the store. While she was gone, Katie happened to come over. I've never said anything to Jenna, but Katie comes over when I'm there pretty often. We just talk about old times and about the kids. She's getting ready to start her second year of college for her nursing degree. She was going the whole year. She told me she was studying DNA and was wondering if she could take mine. Katie, I know what you're doing. The kids are mine, believe me. Go ahead, take our DNA and knock yourself out. Ryan, I love Ethan and Emma. It's their mother I don't trust, and you shouldn't either. For the record, I do hope they're your kids. I spend more time with them than their mother does. Katie, why such a distrust of Jenna? She's your cousin. Look, she was a wild child when she was younger. I remembered how she was when we visited them. I don't think she's changed that much. The reason she went out with you was that she knew I cared about you and planned on taking you away from me. She succeeded. Why didn't you tell me? I asked. When? Right after you spent time with her. No, thank you. You made your bed and now have to sleep in it. But it doesn't mean I have to stop caring for you. I have to go home now. I was shocked to hear that, but later when Mom came home, she told me that after school, Katie always came over to visit. She would take breaks from doing her homework and help Mom with the kids. They were quite the handful. Damn, my emotions were all mixed up. I was married now and had a family. I had to do whatever it takes to make it work. I tried to help Jenna even more. Nothing seemed to improve all that much. We still had sex once or twice a week, usually after we went out. I was at somewhat of a loss until I heard a knock at the door. I answered it, and it was Katie. "Katie, what are you doing here? If Jenna catches you here, she'll go berserk. Much as I hate to, I have to ask you to leave. She won't be here that soon. I bet you got a call. She's working over." "How do you know that?" I asked. "I know I shouldn't get involved, but I am worried about you and the kids. I heard at college on Tuesday that a married woman where Jenna works is having an affair with a married man. One of the girls at college is a real gossip. She told me and a couple of other girls where she worked. It was part-time at the same agency as Jenna. She told us that the woman, who she wouldn't name, stays late on Tuesday and Thursday. So I drove by on Tuesday and there was Jenna's car in the parking lot next to one other car. Today is Thursday and I drove by and there it was again. Katie, Jenna always calls me when she works over. She's never more than an hour late. That doesn't mean she's having an affair. Do you have any kind of proof, like pictures, that she is being unfaithful to me?" "No, I don't. I just thought I would tell you what I heard and saw. I'm not trying to be mean or break up your marriage. I'm sorry. It was stupid for me to even come here. I feel so stupid. It's just that we always watched out for each other, and I hate seeing you get hurt. Please, just forget I was here. I was wrong to come here." Again, she left me standing there, wondering what the hell was going on. Jenna came home and said she needed a shower. She didn't even take the time to kiss me or say hi to the kids. I didn't tell her that Katie stopped by. It would have just been an argument. Jenna did say she had something to talk to me about. We did talk the next evening. The third week of November, a number of people in my office will be taking a vacation and going to Las Vegas for 4 days. The company is having a conference and will be paying for the price of the rooms for the employees. Plus, they will be eating most meals for free. I'm planning on going. What about our family? We can't take 2 little kids to Las Vegas. Besides, I can't get off work. I took my vacation when the kids were born. You don't have to go. Gina, one of the girls at the office, said she would share a room with me. We're going to drive there so we can save some money. My boss is expecting me to go. He said it will help me in the future. I can start studying to become an insurance agent. What if I say no? I want you to stay here with me and the kids. They don't get to see you that much. They've been calling my mother Mommy. No matter what I want, you are always against it. Well, this is my job, and I'm going. If you can't give me a little space, then screw you. This is my future I'm talking about. You can have your precious Katie watch your kids." What does Katie have to do with this? I hardly ever see her. I know she visits your mom all the time. Do I look like I have stupid written on my forehead? I know you still care for her. I bet you've been spending time with her too. I have never done anything wrong with Katie. You're just using her as an excuse to go to Las Vegas. I heard a rumor that someone in your office is having an affair. That wouldn't be you by any chance? If you choose to go to Las Vegas, we may not stay married when you get back. You're not going anywhere. I'll get your precious kids, and you will have a hard time seeing them when I tell the courts about Katie, your girlfriend. As far as me having an affair, I wish I were. It was 2 weeks away, and we argued about it every day until she had her bags packed and was ready to go. She didn't work any overtime for the following 2 weeks. I had a feeling she was a bit hesitant about me finding out something. I was lost on what to do. I threatened divorce, and she didn't bat an eye. I talked to an old friend at work, and he suggested I get a private investigator. He mentioned a good friend of his who handled his divorce. He even accepted credit cards. I talked to a Chris Thompson, and he listened to my story. I told him I didn't have any proof, but I had suspicions my wife was having an affair. I told him about Las Vegas and gave him a list of the employees that I knew were going. Katie found out who was going from her gossip friend that worked at the agency. I gave Chris a credit card, and he charged me $500 to look into my situation. He called me a couple of days later and said the manager of the agency was taking his wife. 2 other agents were also taking their wives. He mentioned that Mark Evans, one of the agents, was going solo even though he was married. The only other two people going solo were my wife and her divorced friend, Gina. Chris laughed when he saw Gina's name. He told me he followed her husband and found him cheating on Gina. It led to their divorce a couple of years back. He did mention he dated her a couple of times after that. He told me he would accept my case, but it would cost me $1,000 a day plus some expenses. We figured it would be around $5,000. I explained to him that I needed proof if she was cheating on me. I didn't have that kind of money, and Chris said if I wanted to put $2,500 down on a credit card, he would charge the balance later. He promised me that if Jenna cheated on me, he would get me the proof I needed. He would keep me updated daily by email. I went home wondering if I was doing the right thing. I knew I had to get past these suspicions. If she wasn't having an affair, I would do my best to make this marriage work. On the other hand, if she was cheating on me, I would start divorce proceedings. I picked up my kids at Mom's and went home. Jenna had left work early and came home and packed her bags for her trip. She kissed the kids and told me, "I'll see you in 4 days," as she laughed at me. I really didn't want to be home alone. I took the kids and went and visited one of my friends. They had kids and we enjoyed the evening together. They asked about Jenna, and I told them she had a mandatory convention to go to and would be gone for 4 days. I did mention I couldn't get off of work since I had used up my vacation. The next day, I stayed at Mom's for dinner. Katie showed up, and at first I felt a bit awkward. She knew Jenna had gone to Las Vegas. After dinner, we all sat around and watched TV. I felt good just having Katie near. Before we knew it, we were joking and playing with the kids. "Katie, whatever happened to the DNA test you took of me and the twins?" She became more solemn. I was a bit worried, and then she said, "You were right. You are their biological father. I'm sorry I doubted you. I really am happy for you. They're wonderful kids." Again, I could see she was sorry she had interfered. There is no way I could stay mad at her. Deep down, I guess I always knew we should have been together, but now it was just too late. I went home that evening, put the kids to bed, and went to my computer. I had received some information from Chris. He told me that he saw Jenna, Gina, and Mark Evans sharing a table. He said he walked over to Gina and she recognized him. He told her he was there for a few days for a vacation. Gina introduced him to Jenna and Mark as an old friend. He went on to tell me they invited him to sit with them at their table. He pretended to be interested in Gina and asked her to dance. Mark and Jenna got up to dance also. He sent me a couple of snapshots from his phone, but they didn't prove anything other than they were dancing close. He explained his plan to me that he was going to date Gina and would have an inside track on what went on when they all went to their meeting the next day. He was going to plant a mini camera in their rooms. He figured if anything went on, that's where it would take place. Friday after work, I went home before going to Mom's to pick up the twins. I wanted to check the computer. Chris had a live feed set up in their bedroom. He told me that I wouldn't be able to use it in court since it was taken illegally, but I could use whatever he taped as leverage. He also put an audio bug under one of the beds. He would send me both audio and video files if there was anything to share. I figured it would be the next morning before I would know any more. I picked up the kids and went next door to visit Jim and Karen Thompson. It's been a while since I have seen them. They played with the kids, who were their grandniece and grandnephew. We talked for a while, but they didn't say much about Jenna, other than we mentioned her trip. Katie came home and was surprised to see us at their house. Mrs. Thompson asked us to stay for dinner. She made macaroni and cheese for the twins. We stayed rather late. I wasn't in a hurry to get home. This felt more like a home to me. I got up early the next morning and checked the computer before the kids woke up. My worst thoughts were real. Chris told me after the meeting that he met up with Gina, Jenna, and Mark, and they went out for dinner and drinks. When it was time to go to their room, he asked Gina to his room for a nightcap. Mark went to his room, and Jenna to hers. He sent a video of Jenna talking to Mark on the phone. She told him it was safe to come back since Gina had called and said she was staying the night with Chris. When Mark got to the room, Jenna put her arms around him and began kissing him. I could hear them talking. "God, I missed being with you. We had to make sure we were safe to be together. "I need you to make love to me," said Jenna. They stripped and began having sex. I watched him screw her twice before I just shut off the computer. I had seen enough for now. I had 2 little kids to take care of. I called a lawyer friend and told him I needed to know my rights when I asked for a divorce. I told him I have tapes and pictures of her with her lover. Even though they might not be admissible, I wanted custody of my kids. We talked for a long time, and I let him know I would be back the following week, probably to file for a divorce. I didn't want to be alone. I needed someone to talk to, and I wanted it to be Katie. The problem was, I didn't want her to get drawn in on the divorce. Jenna already said she would involve Katie if I tried divorcing her. I decided to call Jenna at the hotel. She answered her phone and sounded like she had been drinking. "Jenna, you haven't called, so I thought I would check in." "How are you doing?" "I'm fine. Meetings all day, and Gina and I had dinner together. I'm getting ready for bed now. It's been pretty boring overall. I have to take a shower. I'll see you in a couple of days. Bye." I knew she was lying. I heard a man's voice in the background. She didn't even ask how I or the kids were doing. I'd probably have more evidence later. As I was sitting and playing with the kids, there was a knock at the door. I answered it, and it was Katie. "Hi, thought you might like some company," said Katie. She came in and we talked. She was the one person that I could always confide in. She asked me why I seemed so gloomy, and I told her the truth. Jenna was cheating on me, and I was planning to divorce her when she got back. "How do you know for sure, Ryan? I was out of place telling you about her possible affair at work. You can't base a divorce on rumors. I have a PI following her in Las Vegas. I know it was a drastic step, but I had to know for sure. He sent me some files on her and Mark Evans having sex. Oh, God, I am so sorry." "That makes me want to kick her butt," replied Katie. "I'm worried about the kids. I told Jenna if she went to Las Vegas, I might divorce her when she got back. She laughed at me and said she would tell a judge about me and you. But we've never done anything wrong, only talked. She doesn't have anything against us." "I almost wish she did," responded Katie. "What?" "Keep your shirt on, Ryan. I mean, I've always cared for you and sometimes wondered what if we were together. Haven't you ever thought about me like that?" "Many, many times. But I was stupid and went after your cousin. The rest is history." The kids were in bed, and we talked about what could have been. As much as I wanted to hold her and kiss her, I was still a married man. I was going to honor my vows. If I didn't, I would be no better than Jenna. "Ryan, if you get divorced, I'll be here to help you through it. I'd never abandon you. You'll always be my best friend." I did give her a hug. It was near midnight, and I didn't even want to check the emails. I had seen enough that morning. There was a knock on the door, and it startled both of us. Who could it be at this hour, I wondered. I heard the knock again and got up to answer it. There were 2 state troopers standing there. "Are you Ryan Sullivan?" asked the officer. "Yes, sir. But why are you here, especially at this time of night? May we come in?" "We have some very sad news to tell you." "Sure, please come in." They saw Katie sitting there. I figured they were wondering who she was. "Mr. Sullivan, please sit down. What's this all about?" "I've been home all evening," I said as I sat down. Katie hadn't said a word. "Mr. Sullivan, are you married to Jenna Sullivan?" "Yes, I am." "She's in Las Vegas. What did she do?" "She was killed in an auto accident, Mr. Sullivan. It happened a couple of hours ago. I was stunned. I couldn't speak. I just sat there in shock." Katie spoke up. "Officer, Jenna is my cousin. I'm here to help Ryan with the kids. Can you tell us what exactly happened?" We received a call from Las Vegas where an accident occurred. We were asked to notify the next of kin. She had her purse and driver's license, and we were asked to contact Mr. Sullivan. "We're very sorry for your loss. I talked to her a few hours ago. She said she was going to take a shower and go to bed. She never drove while drinking. I was always the designated driver. She wasn't alone, Mr. Sullivan. She was a passenger, but it was her vehicle." "Are you familiar with a Mark Evans?" "He was driving her vehicle and was under the influence." "I've met him a couple of times." "Why was she with him? Did he die as well?" "No, he's in critical condition in the hospital. That's all we can tell you for now. If you need more information, you can contact the Las Vegas police tomorrow. Again, we're sorry for your loss." After the officers left, I broke down and cried. Thank God Katie was there. She cried with me. My thoughts were racing. What should I do now? Her parents deserve to know. My parents need to know too. I wondered if I should wait until morning to call anyone. What was to gain by interrupting their sleep? Katie said she would stay with me tonight. I shouldn't be alone. What will people think? My wife was killed, and you were in my apartment, I asked Katie. I don't care what people think. I am not leaving you here alone. Besides, tomorrow is Sunday, and I can help by watching the kids while you notify people. Ryan will get through this, I promise. I told Katie to take the bed and I'd sleep on the couch. I wouldn't be getting much sleep anyway. It was after 2 in the morning when Katie went to try and get some sleep. I went over to the computer to see if Chris knew what happened. First, I got some files of Jenna and Mark kissing. Then she was undressing in front of him. The phone rang, and she was talking to me all the while Mark was in the room. After she hung up, she finished her drink and got dressed. She and Mark left the apartment after that. I had a long email from Chris, but no audio or visual files. Ryan, if you're reading this, you must have been told of Jenna's death. I'm getting off the case now. No use wasting your money. I'll be back in town tomorrow. If you want to see me, we'll just call it even for the advance. At 7, I called my parents and told them about Jenna's death. I mentioned I didn't know the whole story, but that she was a passenger in her car and an agent where she works was driving. I didn't know any more than that, but I would find out more today. Mom was crying and told me she would be there for me. I told her I would see her later and now had to call Jenna's parents. Bob, Jenna's father, answered the phone. Ryan, is something wrong with one of the kids? It's only 7. Bob, I got a call early this morning. Jenna was killed in an auto accident in Las Vegas. The police came by and informed me. I heard Bob break down. He told his wife, Alice, and I heard her scream in the background. Are they sure it's Jenna? Asked Bob. Yes, they had her purse, and it was her car. She was with a fellow employee who was driving. I think they hit a post, but I don't know. I'll find out later today. I am calling the Las Vegas Police Department. They asked me to keep them informed, and if I needed anything, to give them a call. I made a pot of coffee and tried to figure out what I would do today. Katie had gotten up and came into the kitchen and just gave me a hug. We held each other for what seemed like a couple of minutes. She had tears in her eyes. After the kids got up, we fed them, and Katie got them dressed. I dropped them off at Mom's. Katie told me she would tell her parents about Jenna. Mom said she would keep the kids all day so I could do what I had to do. I had to contact the Las Vegas Police Department. I also wanted to talk to Chris Thompson. I contacted the police first. I explained to them who I was. They asked a lot of personal questions verifying I was Ryan Sullivan. We're sorry for your loss, Mr. Sullivan. I'm guessing you want some particulars in your wife's death. She was a passenger in her vehicle driven by Mark Evans. Preliminary tests showed both had consumed enough alcohol so that they were intoxicated. Mr. Evans hit a light pole at a high rate of speed. Your wife wasn't wearing her seatbelt and was found pinned under the dashboard. The impact had broken her neck. The medical examiner said she died very quickly. What about Mark Evans? Is he still alive? I asked. Yes, he is in very critical condition. He is in surgery as we speak. He sustained major damage to his lower extremities. His chest was crushed against the steering column. He will be going through more surgeries. He has a 5,050 chance of survival at this point. He isn't going to be able to go scot-free if he survives, will he? No, Mr. Sullivan. He will be charged with vehicular homicide in the death of your wife. He was intoxicated well beyond the legal limit. Sir, what do I do now? You know, my wife's body and all. I would suggest you get a lawyer and he will handle having the body sent to a mortuary of your choosing. We will also send her personal belongings with her body. He'll fax an accident report to your lawyer for all your insurance purposes. Again, Mr. Sullivan, I am very sorry for your loss. After speaking with the police department, I got hold of the lawyer I had talked to a week before. He was surprised to hear from me so soon. I told him about the death of my wife and asked if he could help me out. He said he would meet me in a couple of hours at his office. He received the facts about the accident, and they would be sending Jenna's body to the funeral home that I had chosen. They said it would be a couple of days. The lawyer said he would take care of all the legal matters. We had our insurance company to deal with, plus my wife's life insurance where she worked, and God knows what else I might need to do later. He would deal with any other legal matters that arose. I was thankful to have a caring lawyer. The next person I talked to was Chris Thompson. He was very sympathetic to my situation. He told me he stopped sending files when he heard about the accident. He said he was with Gina at the time. He wasn't aware that Mark and Jenna had left the hotel until he didn't see them on the visual. I asked him if there was anything he could add about the accident. Why wasn't Jenna wearing a seatbelt? What did the police mean when they said Mark was having surgery on his lower extremities? Ryan, I talked to a friend at the police station. Are you sure you want to know these things? The press got the same story that you were told. So what wasn't I told, Chris? Jenna wasn't wearing a seatbelt because she was giving Mark a kiss. She wanted to get up quickly and hit the steering wheel. He lost control and she fell forward under the dashboard as he hit a light post. She literally bit off his manhood. It was in her mouth when they found her. I'm not sure if she choked or broke her neck first. What a horrible way to die. According to the report, she didn't suffer long. As for Mark Evans, he will be suffering for a very long time. He collapsed a lung, broke a number of ribs, and damaged his spleen. They might find more damage while they are operating. If he makes it through all of that, he will face vehicular homicide charges. I thanked Chris and needed to talk to Katie. I called her and she met me for coffee. What is it, Ryan? What did you find out? I don't know how much I should tell everyone. I told her the whole story that Chris had told me. Don't tell it to anyone, Ryan. Don't ruin the memories that everyone has of her. Just go along with the printed story that says they hit a post and she was killed. You can say they were coming back from dinner. You have no reason to get even with her. She is the mother of your kids, and you want her parents in the kids' lives. Nothing would be gained by spewing insults about her. You're much better than that. Katie was so much more level-headed than I was. I had a copy of the police report, and that's what I told people. Jenna's parents helped me pick out the funeral arrangements. I felt they needed a way to mourn. Katie suggested it. She also said she would stay in the background during the services. We had a nice service, and it was well attended by my friends and by Jenna's friends and fellow employees. I knew that some of them were aware of her cheating on me by the way they talked to each other. I stood there with Jenna's parents and greeted everyone. Mom and Dad paid their respects and went home to watch the kids so Katie could come to the funeral home. I wished I could have hugged her longer and sat beside her, but it might not have seemed appropriate. After the funeral, I had a long talk with Mom and Dad. It would just be too hard for me to care for the kids myself. We all agreed that I would move back home to my parents' house. I could have my old room back, and the twins could share the spare room. I started back to work after taking time off for the funeral. I didn't work any overtime. I really didn't have a need to. One day, I got a call from my lawyer, and he told me to stop by Jenna's employer. It was to pick up her personal things, and they had the life insurance check as well as money from Jenna's savings plan. Most of the employees paid their respects again, but I could see that some, like Gina, did their best to avoid me. I wanted to yell at them and tell them that I knew about Jenna's cheating and how two-faced they all were. But like Katie said, let it go. Because it was considered an accidental death, I received $150,000 plus a few thousand from her savings. I took the money and put it in the bank for now. I figured I would invest it later for the kids' education. I also got a large payment from the auto insurance company. They paid for accidental death and for Jenna's car. My lawyer had talked to Mark Evans' insurance company also. I actually collected more money from his insurance company since he was driving Jenna's car. I paid my lawyer his fees and thanked him for not bringing up the possible divorce. He just smiled and shook my hand. Life was back to something like normal. To say I didn't miss Jenna would be a lie. She was my wife and the mother of my kids. I cared for her, but I guess she just wanted more than I had to offer. The kids were growing and speaking a few words. It was funny how they began calling the older women in their life Nana. That would be their grandparents and also Katie's mom. The younger women, like my sister and Katie, they called Mama. How they knew any difference, I didn't know. I was Dad. I wish I knew what was a normal period of mourning. I wanted to get serious with Katie, but I wanted to wait the proper time. I was still mixed up and doing the best I could. My parents were wonderful in helping me. They treated Katie like another daughter, but they have always done that. Jenna's parents would come and see the kids, or I would take them over to see them every week. They treated me okay, but I doubt I was ever on their favorites list. A few months had gone by, and they asked if they could throw a birthday party for the kids at their house. Everyone showed up. My parents, my sister's family, Katie and her parents were there also. Seeing they were relatives, Bob had asked to talk to me alone, and we went into the other room. Ryan, I guess you know that we didn't want Jenna to marry you. Everyone wants the best for their kids. I now know that you are a good person and the truth about Jenna. I did a little investigating and found out that Jenna had been cheating on you. I know you knew about it, but did all you could to keep anyone from knowing. It could have really ruined her image as well as our families. I want to thank you for that. Alice and I both want to see you go on with your life. You have mourned enough for such a young man. We feel you should get back into dating and maybe find a wonderful wife for our grandbabies. Again, we want to thank you for the respect you showed our family. I had tears in my eyes and hugged the big military guy. I knew it was hard for him to say. I didn't ask where he got his information, but didn't disagree with it either. We had a great party for the kids. Before I left, I told Bob and Alice that they would always be in the kids' lives no matter what my future brings. One weekend, Katie came over all dressed up and asked to see Mom. She looked beautiful. "Why are you all dressed up?" I asked. "I am going to a party next weekend and wanted your mother's opinion on my outfit." Before I could say anything else, Mom came into the room. "You look gorgeous. You'll have all the boys chasing after you." "Doesn't she look beautiful, Ryan?" asked Mom. "Yes, she does." I wasn't sure what to say. I was about to ask her out on a real date this weekend, and here she was all dressed up and finding the right clothes for a date. I was afraid to ask who she was going with. "Thanks, Mom. I better go home and change. Talk at you later, Ryan." She walked out smiling. "Mom, has Katie been dating?" I asked. "My lord, of course she has. She doesn't go out very often because of school, homework, and watching after you and the kids." "But yes, she's been on a few dates." "Why do you ask?" "No reason in particular. I just never knew it. She usually tells me everything." "Do you really want her to tell you about her dating?" "I don't think so. She's a wonderful person and I want the best for her, just like I want the best for you." Katie came back over later and we sat on the porch and talked. "You looked beautiful earlier," I said. She kind of laughed and said, "What do I usually look like?" I knew she was joking. "Katie, how come you never told me you dated? Ryan, you were going out with Jenna, and before I knew it, you two got married. That pretty much took me out of the picture. Where's the party at that you're going to? It's not actually a party, but a wedding of one of my classmates. It's in Phoenix, so we have a room for the night." I heard the word "we" and my stomach tightened up. I felt sad and wasn't sure what to say. "Good thing he has more money than me because I couldn't afford to stay at the hotel," said Katie. I was so mixed up. I thought we could finally get together, and now this. "Who are you going with, Katie?" I asked. She stared at me before answering. It seemed like minutes, but was only a couple of seconds. "You, Ryan. I want you to go with me to the wedding." Now I was really confused. "Are you saying you want me to take you to the wedding? What about this other guy?" "There isn't another guy. I want a real date with you, not just a buddy's night out. I talked with your mother, and she told me to do it this way. You needed to be shaken up a little. So are you going to take me? Your mom said she would watch the twins." Mom walked out on the porch. "Did you ask him yet, Katie?" "Yes, I am waiting for his answer," replied Katie. "Of course, I'll take you. All you had to do was ask. This is an important date, Ryan. I'm really sticking my neck out here. I'll be introducing you to all my friends at school and not as my buddy." Saturday came and I picked up Katie. She looked so beautiful. I wished it was us getting married. I cared for her so much. We checked into the hotel and she did have the room in my name. I had to laugh when they asked me for my credit card. Katie stood there and was almost laughing. We went to our room and I realized that Katie and I would be spending the night together. Of course, I knew it, but didn't give it much thought. We freshened up a little and headed to the wedding. After the wedding, we headed to the reception. Katie introduced me as Ryan, her boyfriend. I loved the sound of that. We sat at a table with some of her friends, and it was like seeing another side of Katie. We danced, and I held her close. I watched her dance with some of her friends. She kept looking at me while she danced. I think she knew I was feeling jealous. Finally, I was with her again. I kissed her. It just happened. It was sweet, yet passionate. Was it like kissing your sister? She laughed at me because that's what I said to her when I was 12. I just kissed her again. At the end of the evening, we went back to our room. Katie asked me to unfasten the back of her dress. She slipped it off and went into the bathroom. I took off my suit and shirt. Katie stepped out in a red negligee. She looked so damn sexy. I still had on my briefs and a shirt. Ryan, before we go any further, I need you to tell me you love me. You know I've always loved you, Katie. It took me a while to realize that the reason you were always my best friend was that deep down I loved you. The problem was I found out too late. Please forgive me. I love you with all my heart. We kissed and turned off the lights. The only light was coming from the bathroom. I kissed Katie over and over. Do I need protection, Katie? No, I've been on the pill ever since you got Jenna pregnant. If I had sex, I wanted to be protected. I said I took birth control pills. I never mentioned that I had sex. Just be gentle with me, or I'll kick your butt. We both laughed. It was only minutes later when we were making love. She was telling me how much she always loved me. How could I have been so stupid and blind my whole life to not notice? After some time, she turned over on her side and I cuddled up against her. Before I knew it, I was fast asleep. When I woke up the next morning, we were still laying the same way. She got up and took a shower. Afterwards, I took one also. When I came out of the bathroom, she had us both a cup of coffee, but first told me how wonderful I was and kissed me. On our way home, I asked her to elope with me and we could go get married. She didn't answer, so I asked her again. Katie, would you like to take off with me and become my wife? She looked over at me. No, Ryan. I want to elope with you and get married. I was shocked. I thought you loved me. That being together last night was to show our love for each other. Why won't you marry me? Is it because of the kids? Ryan, I love you more than anyone, and nobody loves those kids more than me. Then why won't you marry me? I don't understand. I never said I wouldn't marry you. I said I wouldn't elope with you. Ever since I was a little girl, I always wanted that big wedding and me in a white gown. I know I told you that 1,000 times while we were growing up. I want the church wedding and my mom in a beautiful dress and Dad walking me down the aisle. I am an only child and I would never take that away from them. If you want to wait till I finish college, I am in my last semester. We can get married in June at the beginning of summer. By then we can find a place to live, and I can have the wedding I've always wanted along with the man I've always wanted. I know I had tears coming down my cheeks. I told Katie it must be my allergies. Ryan, no one knows you better than me and you don't have allergies. We both laughed. We told my parents and Katie's about the wedding plans. Her mom and dad were so excited. My mom had tears in her eyes. She has always loved Katie but would never interfere in my life. Katie said we had to go see her Uncle Bob and Aunt Alice, Jenna's parents. They seemed a bit surprised when they answered the door seeing me and Katie together. Katie addressed Bob, but both he and Alice were together. Uncle Bob, I need to talk to you. Ryan and I are getting married in June. We would like your acceptance. I know there were rumors flying about that Ryan and I were being intimate while he was married to Jenna. I stand here before you to tell you it isn't true. We never as much kissed while he was married. I can't say I didn't care for him because I did, but at the time, he chose Jenna. Ryan and I stayed friends, but I swear we were never intimate. Bob walked over and gave Katie a hug. Katie, I believe you, and besides, I know you don't need my permission to marry Ryan. Alice and I wish you both the best. I can't think of another woman that I would want to be the mother of our grandchildren. Time was going by, and we went house hunting and found a nice place with a yard for the kids. We put down a deposit to hold it for us. After Katie graduated, she spent most of her free time planning our wedding. She did find a job at a local doctor's office. I helped her as much as I could, sending out invitations, helping with the catering, and, of course, spending time with my kids. They were now calling Katie Mom. It sounded so cute when they said it. Pretty soon they will be calling her Mommy. The wedding went even better than planned. Katie looked like an angel in her white gown. The kids wobbled down the aisle as ring bearer and flower girl. After we said our I-do's, we all headed over to a hall for a large reception. After the reception, Katie and I made love most of the night. We then took a trip for a few days to Branson, Missouri. When we arrived home, we went to our new home with banners and signs welcoming us home. The twins, along with our family and friends, were there to greet us. It's been 4 months since our wedding. Katie is now officially Mommy, and she loves it. I am still Dad. Everything has been wonderful. Our kids have 6 wonderful grandparents that love them. Mom still watches them while we work, but Karen has been spending a little more time with my mom. We do our best to see Bob and Alice at least once a week. They are always welcome at our home. Katie just came home and told me to sit down. She had something she needed to tell me. Again, my emotions were mixed up, expecting the worst. Ryan, I stopped taking the pill a couple of days before our wedding. I am here to inform you that you are one potent man. I am pregnant. I broke down and cried. They were tears of joy. This might be the end of the story, but the start of a great life with a woman I have always loved. Thanks for tuning in. What would you do if you found out your partner was cheating on a work trip? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more unbelievable stories.